Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Good evening, my friends. It is a late one, but we've made it. It's only 9:18 here in the East Coast. This is In the Cup, brought to you by drroto.com. I, of course, am Johnny Danger. With me is Coach White and Adam White. No relation, I swear. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm doing wonderful, man. You know, a little bit later than expected, but we're going to get this thing done, give people the information they came here for.
That's right. We're going to blame Adam for being super late.
I didn't say that.
I did.
What's up, Adam?
Oh my gosh. Did we lose him already? All right. We're just kicking him out of here. We're kicking him out of here, Coach White. We waited long enough. All right. He's gone. He's out. All right. Well, it is in the cup. And today I actually have something in the cup. It is, a non-alcoholic Berliner Weiss from Untitled Art. It's basically a, passion fruit sour.
Yum.
Yeah.
It's non-alcoholic?
Non-alcoholic, sir. Delicious. Untitled Art. They make a whole line of delightful non-alcoholic beers.
Well, I'm on a big sour kick, so that actually sounds delicious.
They have a whole bunch of them. You got to get into it. Untitled Art.
Untitled Art. All right. I like the sound of that.
Yes, sir. It's quite delicious. Well, anyways, before we get into the Genesis Invitational, I do have to make a shout out to you and other Mr. White. I put you to the screws last week at the end of the show and said, give me your one and done. Hit me. You said Cantlay. He said Scheffler. Correct me if I'm wrong. They finished 1 and 2.
They did. Scheffler came out on top, and that wasn't great for me. I mean, Will Zalatoris 2 weeks ago lost to Luke List, lost that outright, and then Cantlay goes and loses this outright for me. So from a betting standpoint, not great. From a DFS standpoint, I was happy with it.
Hey, from a one and done, I can't ask anything more from my co-host than when I say give me the winners that they pick number 1 and 2.
You're right, man. Who'd you end up choosing? Did you say one and
I
done,
don't.
or you just gave
No. I picked no one. No one at all. No one.
It's probably like
Tony,
Finau or something.
Tony Finau at all.
Okay. Yeah, I figured it was Finau.
You know, I have a soft spot in my heart for Finau since I called him last year.
Yeah, you played me that clip right before we started this.
I just saw it. I didn't know it was still in there. Pretty darn funny. Well, anyways, we have moved on to the Genesis Invitational, I believe. Sunny California. I mean, I'm here. I should know, right?
Looks great, man. Looks beautiful. 6 o'clock there. Still got some sunshine.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day at the Genesis Invitational. So we like to talk about building a model, which is Fantasy National. We put in our favorite stats, and I will share those here. We ended up using, shots gained approach. My favorite, of course, around the green. Greens in regulation, putting on fast and lightning fast POA greens. Proximity from 150, 175, par 4 scoring, 400 to 450. Pretty good model there. Spit out comfortable names at the top with Cantlay and Rahm. Some great names here. JT making an appearance in the top 10. But yeah, it's an interesting tool. Make sure you get over to Fantasy National and check that out. We are not paid to say that, but maybe someday we will be. So we'll keep mentioning them briefly. But anyways, let's get this going right away, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're looking at long par 4 hitters. Who strikes you at the top here? I know we kind of tend to fade this top group quite frequently on this show.
Yeah, we do. But in this tournament, it's almost like major pricing. You've got so many good golfers that you should have no issue fitting in one you can really only do one of the top 3 up there if you want to do Thomas, Cantlay, or Rahm. And then you're looking at low 9K to high 8K for your second pick for that more balanced build. Or you can try to cram in 2 of them and reach for 4, 6K guys. But I do not recommend that this week. There is plenty of value in the 8 and 7K range. So if I had to choose out of those top 3, I mean, they're all great picks. Best form right now probably in the world is Patrick Cantlay. At least with high finishes. Rahm is just a cash machine. So if you're playing cash, I mean, you really can just lock in Rahm. He's probably going to get you a top 10. But I'm going Justin Thomas. I just feel like he has more win equity. number one in shots gained approach, his proximity from 150 to 175 in the last 24 rounds. He's first in that as well. First in opportunities gained, and he putts the best over his career on POA greens, which is at Riviera Country Club. So I'm going to rock with Justin Thomas, especially after last week where he gains 12.7 strokes tee to green. So if he can keep that tee to green game going, learn how to putt a little bit this week, I feel like Justin Thomas could pull off that W.
I like it. Now, you mentioned pre-show that the greens are crazy fast. You said you saw a video of somebody just drop a ball and it rolled right off of the green.
Yes.
So we're probably not going to do, Adam and I's favorite narrative of find a guy who's not doing well at putting and hope he strikes it hot with the putter this week, huh? We're kind of going to go with people who are steady on the greens.
Steady on the greens, yes. But really this week, when greens are that fast, like there is a luck factor into it. So, I mean, you know how to putt. Like good putters are going to put well pretty much on any greens.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have players like Corey Connors come out of nowhere and have a great putting week, or Scotty Scheffler like last week on those fast greens. You know, he started off over par in round one, and then he found a hot putter Saturday, Sunday, shoots a 9 under, puts himself into contention, and just kept rolling the flat stick. So all it takes is just finding that flat stick for a couple rounds to really separate yourself from the pack. So, players like Luke List, we had talked about before the show, he's got a really good chance to bounce back. Even though he's not a great putter, I think this tee to green game can take over. Really, the hardest thing about this course is hitting the greens. So it's the hardest course on tour as far as hitting greens in regulation. So we want golfers that can pretty much have a high ball flight and drop it on those greens. And
is
then
that why you like my ARG, my favorite stat? Because they're going to miss those greens, so they got to play right around them.
Exactly. So if you got like a low ball flight with your irons, you're probably just going to skirt off to the back of the green or off into bunkers. So that is another stat we were looking at, is around the green. So if they're not great putters, we are definitely want to make sure that they can at least get it up and down, so we are not hemorrhaging bogey and double bogeys.
I like it. All right. Well, I know in the next group, I'm starting right off with my man, Young Hove. He's the guy that just pops out to me on this course. My own personal model with a few tweaks had him like at number 3. I just like him. I think he just fits this course all the way around, and I am locking him in my first spot.
Yeah, I think it's a great play. 9,400. I mean, last week people played him at 25% ownership. This week we're looking at about 9 to 11. Nobody wants to go back for some reason, but this course is tee to green game.
Flop lag. You got to believe in flop lag, Al. You got to believe in it.
I 100% agree. And this, right now, Hovland, he's not been doing great necessarily with approaches, but because even last week, out of nowhere, he just lost 2 strokes through approach shots and minus 4.1 tee to green. But he had the whole weekend to figure that out. He's the type of player that isn't going to be held down for long. The only time that he has lost strokes back to back was all the way back in March, where he lost the Arnold Palmer 2.2 strokes through approach, and then the Players back-to-back weeks. Outside of that, he always bounced back the following week after a bad approach with a positive approach week. So I have no issues going for Hovland at 9,400. I think it's a great play.
I like it. So you liked Cantlay again. Do you go back to Scheffler off of victory, or do you just kind of give him a cool-off period this week?
I'm going to give him a cool-off period. I think that was a very emotional weekend.
First win, right?
Yeah, first win. And he had to, pretty much, like, he came from, I think he was +1 on day one, and then shot a nice little, I think 4 under to get to the cut line. And then he just absolutely went off with that 9 under. And he lost strokes through approach. He just destroyed those greens, though. Like I said, he had 6.5 strokes through putting. So that's really was a saving grace. So if he comes in with bad approach shots here, and he's not necessarily excellent around the greens, he's pretty good. But I truly think that he had his week, and we should just move on in that range to somebody like, a lot of people are talking about Cam Smith. Great putter on POA, really good around the greens, showing some good form. He always plays better in these really good fields too, like the majors, the WGC events. You always see Cam Smith pop. So I understand why he's so high on this week, but I would rather just play Hovland and Hideki. Hideki's in some of the best form of his entire career. I've never seen him play this consistent. First, let's see, at the Sony, then he took 30th at the Farmers, 8th at the Phoenix. 2 weeks prior or a month prior to that, first at Zozo. So he's got 2 wins in his last 5 tournaments, 3 wins over the last calendar year. And he plays well at those corollary courses. He's taken 5th here at Genesis before, 8th here at Genesis. So he definitely likes these longer courses that demand good approach shots.
I don't know, Al. I mean, it takes a lot to talk me out of a Cam in my lineup, but
I'm just saying, man, if I'm always looking for that ownership leverage, and if you're telling me that Hideki doesn't have the same win equity as Cam Smith, you're just wrong.
Right.
So if I'm paying $200 more for half the ownership, I'm going to find a way to spend that $200.
All right, here he is. I'm going to put him in there too. We'll see how it shapes out. All right, any other feelings about this 9,000 group, or shall we move down a little bit into them high 8s?
We can move down.
All right.
I'm going to go back to another flop lag. So Burns burned some people last week, missed the cut on the number, but he gained strokes through approach. He just struggled a little bit off the tee, and then he just couldn't really putt. But he does his some of his best putting. He does it on Bermuda, which was last week, but he does it on fast greens. So I do like Sam Burns this week at 8,700. Another player that I think is going to get overlooked in that high 8K range. A lot of people probably play Will Zalatoris, who's just excellent with those iron shots. But I don't trust Willie Z to make the crucial putts. And Sam Burns is the type, especially on a course where, you know, really if you get 15 birdies on this course, you're putting yourself in contention. I think 12 was the winner last year. Max Homa, the year before that, was 12 under. The year prior to that was 11, 10. So you don't have to have a birdie fest. But Sam Burns is the type of golfer that he could take 20th, but have 3 of those birdie streak bonuses on DraftKings. And you get the extra. I mean, that's like having an extra 3 birdies by themselves with those bonuses. So I do like Sam Burns just because he can string together birdies in bunches.
And Sam, you know, sounds a whole lot like Cam.
There we go. So if you pivot it off Cam, go down to Sam.
All right, pivot off Cam, go down to Sam. All right, I'm running out of money real quick, but you know, we can make adjustments later. It's totally fine. So you said Homa is the previous champion, but he does not pop in our models. We talked a little bit about that pre-show. Have you wrapped around your brain around that anymore?
No, I haven't. I mean, even last week when I went back, I ran that model again after we had talked pre-show. He was like 75th in that model. And I called him out, said it doesn't matter. He plays well in these long courses on these fast greens. And he does. And he did it again. He placed 14th last week. This course is very similar, demands the same tee to green game with a little bit better putting. So there's a reason he won here last year. And it was due to, I mean, overall, obviously you have to play good in every facet. He gained strokes in all 6 major stat categories. He was 8.8 tee to green, but he gained 4.6 strokes on the greens here last year. And that's just not what Max Homa does. But last week, again, on fast greens, he gained 3.6. So something about these super fast greens, they just bring out the best in Max Homa. So I don't mind it at 8,300.
He is up over 10% ownership.
We probably don't have enough salary for it, but I do think he is definitely in play, even if he's not popping in anybody's models this week.
For sure. He is out of that like top 15 or so ownership as well, which is kind of nice for a defending champ.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
coming in off that 14th place finish, good putter. I mean, he's going to have a lot of confidence coming into this week.
Well, look, I can't play Sam and Max, so we got to keep moving down. We got to keep moving down, my friend. So what's
do it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm always interested in Gooch, but he's not popping in my model this week, and I think I got to get even cheaper. So I don't know what's in this range here we got here.
Yeah, I mean, Gooch is a great play. I like Adam Scott as well. Gooch was on fire last week. He just shot a 75 on Sunday.
Yeah,
he still took 21st though.
Right.
You know, his scoring on DraftKings was great. He was still, even though he took 21st, I think he was. Yeah, I did the math earlier. He was 13th overall. So he was still top 13 player on DraftKings last week. And Gooch is like Burns, where they're just going to rattle off a bunch of birdies in some random round. And before you know it, that one round makes up for 2 of the guy right above him. So
sure. Well,
I don't mind that at all. Adam Scott is just really good on these fast greens, like not putting wise, but the way he lands his ball is green in regulation. He's first in my model on greens gained on fast and firm, because these greens are going to be firm as well. So I like Adam Scott too at 8,200. We do not need to lock him in either. I do like the 3 you already have in there. Instead, we're going to make that lineup work. But for the people that are doing a little bit more balanced, I think Adam's got us for sure in play.
I like it. So, I don't know how much of this show you watched before you came on board, my friend, but we have this problem with the magnetic mouse just kind of going right to Kevin Na every time he's in the field. I mean, he's in the model, I think number 10 or 11 in my model. I'm having a hard time not just pushing the button.
Yeah, he's 10th overall in mine, first and around the greens in that ARG stat. His form's excellent. I mean, his approach shots in his last 2 tournaments, 2.5 strokes gained at Century, 5.4 strokes gained at Sony. If he's striping those approach shots and keeping his iron game crisp, we know what Kevin Na can do on the greens. I mean, he wins randomly at least 3 times a year.
Doesn't he?
Well, at least 2 times a year. This week in these strong fields, like nobody would be surprised if Kevin Na comes and wins at 75 to 1.
Right. Kevin Na is one of those guys, Al, that it's like, I feel like if we took his like win and like top 5 totals and tallied them up and put them up against a bunch of other people in the field that have been playing the same length of time, you're going to take a look at that and you're going to be like, wow, he has a lot of wins and top finishes for somebody who the rest of the time is utterly mediocre.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, in the last 4 years, he has 4 wins. In the last 10 years, 10 second place finishes. His 3,
right.
He's got, he's so many top 5s. His top 10s are outrageous. Like this guy just pumps out good finishes. But then you go down the list and you see like 40 missed cuts.
Right.
That's
it's
just
crazy.
who Kevin Na is. But he plays well at the courses he plays well at. And I talked about that with Bubba Watson last week, who finished top 15. And it's the same with Na. He likes this course. I have no issues betting him at 75 to 1 and playing him at 7,600. I think it's a great value.
Nice. All right, moving down here. Luke List got a victory in, and Adam was off him. He's just kicking himself still. He talks about it every time I talk to him. I don't mind him. He's got win equity at 7,400, and you never can shake a fist at that.
No, and I've never seen Luke List play this consistent in his career either. 11th, 10th, 22nd, 1st, 53rd, and every single one of those he has gained in approach. His last 8 events in approach, so his irons are on point right now. And surprisingly, he's actually 14th in my model around the greens. So even if he's not crisping those irons, he can get up and down here. Proximity, he's first from 175 to 200, where 3 of the par 3s happen in that range. So he'll be teeing it up from 175 to 200. So if he can get those hard to get birdies on those par 3s, that's how you create your advantage on the field in golf just getting those 2s on your scorecard.
I like it. Before we move on, skipping back up a little bit, Paul Casey pops in the model, pops in ownership, but you're not on him. What's the deal with that? We talked a little bit about it. He's been okay. Did I talk you back into him a little bit pre-show?
No, going over his results in the European Tour did help a little bit for his case. And now I get it, why people, he is 12 to 14% ownership right now, but I think he's actually going to come in a little bit higher than that. It's a pretty polarizing name, especially on a course like this where tee to green game is so important. Everybody just thinks of Paul Casey just because he's, incredible from tee to green. He just, is he going to putt that week? So 7,600 is a good price, but I would take the win equity on Kevin Na. When's the last time Paul Casey won?
Sure.
When's the last time Paul Casey won? And when's the last time Kevin Na won? Last year. So
right.
It just, Casey has won 3 times in his career, and it was in 2019 was his last win. I'm sorry. It's Kevin Na all day for me at that same price and less ownership.
So in the same kind of spot in the model for about the same kind of price as the last couple of guys, we've got Cam Tringali and Christian Bezuidenhout. Bezuidenhout?
Yep. Bezuidenhout.
Yes. Make a case for them for me. They're popping in our model. They're dirt cheap.
Who was the first one? You say Tringali?
Tringali, yep.
Yeah. So, Tringali is, we had talked about that a little bit as well. he's one of those players right now. He's kind of in that Luke List mold where out of nowhere, he's having one of the best seasons of his career. You know, he's got 2 top 10 finishes. Or geez, let's see, second miscut, seventh miscut, third miscut. So if that theme continues, if he just came off miscut, another top 10 or top 5 is in the cards for us this week. He's playing really well as far as just, you know, finishing. He's putting well. But it comes in waves with Tringali. It's an even, and then it's a 6 under, and then it's a 2 under, and then it's an 8 under. It's just happening all at once. And I don't think this is the course where you can really do that. So I don't mind him this week, but I would rather play somebody like Lanto Griffin underneath him. Okay. I think Lanto at 7,200 is really interesting this week. Good around the green game, really good finishes recently. You know, a lot of made cuts in a row, and that's what I'm looking for in a course like this. If I want to get the 6-6 and I need somebody low, he's made 9 of his last 10 cuts with, let's see, 3 top 10 sprinkled in there, a top 20, and a 30th place finish. So his form's really good. I like what he brings to the table, and he pops in my corollary courses, does well at that Wells Fargo, placed 26th here at Genesis last season. And he likes the greens. Last year, he gained almost 5 strokes putting at on these really fast greens. So I think Lanto is super interesting. And he's in the same mold as Carlos Ortiz, right underneath him at 7,000. Carlos Ortiz, he's the type of person you play on long courses with POA greens. That's really when you target Carlos Ortiz. It's only going to be about 4 or 5 times a year. So if you're going to do it this week.
I like it. All right, well, let's wrap it up here. I don't feel like we have to go ultra cheap unless you're really trying to slam, you know, a couple of top guys in there. But, you know, we were pretty good with Poston and your guy. Who was your guy last week down in the dregs?
Oh, gosh, let's not go there.
Why am I blinking?
It was Leviota, but my value play of the week was Alex Noren, and that paid off.
Yeah, Noren. So is there anybody down here that interests you? Cam Davis?
Yeah, so I actually like 3 different players in this range. I like Sebastian Munoz. Every once in a while, he just randomly pops, and you'll get a top 10. And he'll be in the mix going into Sunday. Puts well in POA. He's coming off a 23rd place finish last week. The only thing that really hindered him, he almost lost 4 strokes on the greens and still took 23rd. I just think that he's in a good position. 39th the week prior to that. 6,700 for Sebastian Munoz. He is the type that you play when he gets hot. Outside of that, Doug Gim, 6,500. Got some love for Dougie. Coming off his second best approach week in his PGA Tour career, and he's made 9 of his last 10 cuts. So at 6,500, you can definitely do a lot worse.
Yeah.
Let's see. Underneath him, right underneath this, the last person I'll mention is Aaron Rye. I love his game overall. I think he's exceptional.
Hey, I've never heard of him.
Oh, really? Okay.
Who's this guy?
So in the last 2 weeks, let's see, I think 2 weeks ago, he took a 5th place at the Farmers, which is another long course. He just everything outside of his around the green. He excels at everything but around the green game. He's not an ARG player. All right. So if he can hit these hard to hit greens, he should have no issue making the cut at this dirt cheap price tag of 6,400.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you see my lineup on the screen. I got 2 holes left.
What do we got here?
I got 75 each. I don't really want to mess with those top 4. I kind of really like my 4 guys up there. So how are we filling out my 15 grand? I lean towards Luke List personally.
Yeah, I love Luke List, man. Why quit? He's hot right now.
All right. So that
gives you enough to go to Paul Casey, doesn't it?
It does.
See, and I would play Noren again over Paul Casey. I actually have love for Noren again. I know, but there's some. Don't you not like Noren for some reason? Why don't you tell me why don't you like?
No, it wasn't me. Yeah,
it's not you. Okay,
must have been Adam.
All right, so I do like Noren this week. I just think that he brought his full arsenal last week, and this course is very similar. He's just got what it takes to put up high finish after high finish, and there's not a lot of players on tour that can do that. And he might go on a streak of missing 5 cuts in a row after this, but I want to play him while he's playing well. 13th at the Memorial, 4th at Rocket Mortgage. 39th at Farmer, 6th at the Phoenix. So he likes these long straight courses that demand around the green game and good putting. So Alex Noren is going to be my pick to click at 7,500.
All right, man, I'm in. We did it. We've got Hovland, we've got Hideki, we've got Burns now, List, and we've got Noren. I'm going to play it. I'm going to drop it in there.
Let's do it, man.
All right, I got to make
lock it in.
And
actually going back and looking at Noren's history here, he's got a couple top 20 finishes, so he likes this course.
All right, I think we've done it, man. I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry Adam couldn't join us. And
it happens.
We waited around for him for like 40 minutes. We just couldn't do it anymore.
We pivot, man. We moved on. I think we gave the people what they wanted.
That's right.
It's a successful show. We'll be around every week, Wednesdays. Come check us out.
That's
Have
right.
some fun over at Dr. Roto.
And there's a few of you watching right now. You will be able to check out Coach White's article on the webpage and get his direct breakdown of his picks. This will be up on the site shortly. It'll be replayed in the morning, and good luck out there.
Good luck, everybody.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well.